Arcadia Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Magician, Galaxy Star beats Gadding and Material Man.
Welcome to Racing Rewind, proudly presented by Sessions, who stands the 22-23 season at Oakland Parkstar. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. That's 0427 789 571.
Short run, Bruce and home run, but Northerly, Danny Miller, pumping away, and Northerly wins the railway.
Yes, a new look Racing Rewind today, and joining us is Britt Taylor. A very good morning, Britt.
Good morning, Marty. Good morning, listeners.
And Scotty Embry. How are you, Scott?
Same to you, Marty. Same to Brittany. Good morning.
Thanks for the coffee.
Yes.
You're more than welcome.
Thank you for the coffee.
Tell us all about yesterday. Of course, Eurythmic Stakes and the Crawford Stakes.
Great day out on track, obviously backing up from last week opening day, which was a huge success, big crowds on track, and I think this is probably, well, it has to be one of the best race days across the country with the Everest Caulfield Cup, but locally as well. This is the first time we get to look at some of our contenders for Winterbottom's Railway. It's a bit of a moving day in that way, where we start to be able to see these horses return to the races. So good day on the track, and off the track, Perth Racing marketed it as Sporting Champions Day, which was cool to see some of the great athletes or even current athletes out there in a function under the Bookies Pavilion, which was free for anyone to go in and listen to. So I thought that added a nice little element to the day.
Okay, Britt's named it Moving Days, Scott, and mentioned Winterbottom and the Railway. Was the Winterbottom and the Railway Stakes winner there yesterday?
No, for me.
I agree.
Winterbottom winner, I think we'll touch on it when we get to the Crawford. As much as we were very impressed with Miss Kentucky, This'll Test You was huge. The benchmark animal for the Winterbottom Stakes wasn't there in Elite Street, so they still, no matter how good they were, have to come to his level.
Yes.
And then the Railway Stakes, where there was half a length first to fourth in the Eurythmic, and the winner was a horse that's possibly not even headed that way. We'll confirm with Michael Lane in Resort Man whether or not they entertain the Railway as an option for him. And then, of course, we'll cover the train wreck that unfortunately was Devoted, where nothing went right.
0427 789 571. Get some texts in for the team in here today if you've got any queries about racing yesterday or going forward. You mentioned about Devoted. No luck there in the last at all. I was taken by the run of This'll Test You in the Crawford. Caught a little bit wide. I still love the ride from Tash. Gave it every hope from where it was, and it was only that rails hugging ride from Paddy Carberry that brought This'll Test You undone.
That's it. One takes the shortest way home. The other one has to cover a little bit of extra ground. And I think
barriers.
One of the most impressive things too, just mentioning barriers, is the fact that they were in there for an extended period of time, with one having to come out and be vetted. We know what This'll Test You's been like in the past when she's in those confined spaces and whatnot. So I think from a behavioural point of view as well, that's a huge tick, and we can be following her with so much more confidence than we ever could before.
Probably goes to a second point. What a great job Mitchell Pateman's done with This'll Test You, because she's all of a sudden in career best form as a 7-year-old mare, but also comes back to, we're at the point now where we look at this as a capacity lineup of 16, and you have to start to ask the question, why didn't Tash Faithful have a ride before final acceptances?
Exactly. Hey, what about the steward's room? What happened there?
Look, the stewards, there was one suspension to come out of the meeting. That was to Brandon Louis, who was suspended for 12 days for his ride on written matter when he just came out when insufficiently clear of KMA. Outside of that, the one other thing which we can probably touch on when we get to race 2, but that was that Fire Sale was a non-starter. Weird situation. The gate didn't open in the balance of the rest of them. So if you watch the replay, you can see that gate is just still closed when the rest of them open, and it opens just a fraction later. But therefore, Fire Sale was deemed a non-starter there. And Holly Watson, a reprimand on Salea.
How about a Patna Racing of the day, Scott?
And, of course, the weekly $200 from the Pont for the Christmas party for Whitbreach. That's in there too. But the winners yesterday, it was a fairly typical Ascot style of day. All the King's Men, the first winner, was in front all the way. Requisition settled 1 out, 2 back. Buster Bash led. Laced Up Heels, who has to be near on the winner of the day, 3 deep with cover. Mystery Island, 1 out, 1 back. Swear to God in the box seat. Both the feature winners, Miss Kentucky and Resort Man, cut the corner and went up along the inside fence. And then Tricks of the Trade in that muddlingly ugly run race in the last ended up 3 deep with, and then 4 deep with cover on the back of Devoted.
Just on that, one from the text line, Bob. Has Eddie Rigg got a good one on his hands in laced up heels?
Absolutely.
A very good one.
Yeah, and here's Bill from Baldivis. Should Native Chimes have started as suspected to be in season?
Yeah, that was an interesting one. Obviously, the notification came through that Native Chimes was showing signs of being in season. We've seen it before with horses. Remember with Enticing Star, that was always a big talking point when she was in season, out the back and kicking and all of that. But how do you know how they're going to run until they do?
Wasn't Try For Us also in season? Did I hear that or did I hear that wrong?
I didn't hear that.
Okay. Morning team, can I just say that I had a great time at Ascot yesterday. Patting, Rocky, Scenic and Lucky was brilliant.
And it was just so beautiful to see these old horses in between each race. They came to the mounting yard, old retired champions of the track. And Lucky Grey is no longer grey, he is white. And it was just beautiful to see Scenic Blast, who's been a mainstay for all of those sort of functions, and then Rock Magic as well back at the races.
And this actually went even further. This was Scott from Kinross, Britt. Then a quick chat to Brittany in passing made my day. So thank you for making my day. That's Scott from Kinross.
Oh.
There you go. Good on you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, sounds like you had a very good day out there. Just a quick one with the sports people that were out there yesterday. They were in the Bookmakers Pavilion, and what access did the public have to them?
Yeah, complete access. So it was a free function. The one thing was it was barriered off by some fencing, and I think a lot of people thought that they couldn't go in there, that it was a private function, and so slowly Perth Racing staff was saying, you can go in there, and then people would go and sit down. So in terms of an access, it's free for anyone to go listen to, so I thought that worked nicely. Probably just need to get a few more people to know that it was on and that it was free to walk in.
And they could have even re-angled it and made it more open.
Yeah.
And as you say, remove that fencing, but it's certainly a good starting point.
Yeah, I like the idea a lot.
Starting point for the race day was the Amelia Park Plate for the 3-year-olds, and it was over the 1,400 metres.
King. 450 left to go, and it's All the King's Men, the favourite. Look to be travelling very well for the Pontiff. Coming towards the home turn. They'd straighten up, and he gives him a bit more rain. All the King's Men. He draws a length and a half, St. Torio. They put up 2 lengths. Sessoir, Central Force. All the King's Men inside the 200. Now showing the Shillelagh. All the King's Men by a length on St. Torio. Trying hard, but All the King's Men's holding St. Torio. It's All the King's Men. All the King's Men too good. He won from...
It was a good fighting win over Santorio and Upper Limits because All the King's Men had to do a little bit of work to get there early in the race and fought them off in the straight.
He drew barrier 8 of 8. Trevor Andrews pre-race probably thought that he would be going back. He's been really open that he thinks this horse is a better horse ridden with a sit, but when he spoke to Paul Harvey, Paul had done his homework and thought there isn't that much speed in this, and I thought he did a really nice job, Paul, just along that back straight, just was letting the horse get there in his own rhythm. He wasn't really bustling him like crazy to get there, and he just found the front and showed a lot of versatility as well, because we've seen this horse ridden back and finish off really strongly first up, and then to be able to go to the front and kick clear and win yesterday, a really nice animal.
Trevor did his pre-race interview and did his update to the owners, and then they were coming into the mounting yard and they were all discussing this story filtered out after the race that they were expecting to see All the King's Men go back, and then they were talking to Paul Harvey, and Trevor Andrews said, we'll go back and we'll find a spot, and he got this wry little grin from the pond who thought, we're not doing that. I'm not going back. No. Not on the odds-on favourite. Paul Harvey doesn't go back when he doesn't need to.
No.
But in the end, Upper Limits, who was the likely leader drawn the inside gate, was a little bit awkwardly away, and that probably allowed All the King's Men to be able to roll to the top, because had Upper Limits held St. Torio, it's possibly even 3 deep. The trip All the King's Men, it's a different story. That being said, once he found the front, Paul Harvey's able to get things his own way, and as we see time and time again, he is so awfully hard to get past. There was a race on Thursday at Northam. Lord Gannicus, who was off the map, one of Grant and Alana Williams, at the top of the home corner, that horse was in all sorts of pain. And Paul Harvey just goes to work and lifts them. It's beautiful to watch.
It really is. Just on Upper Limits, obviously, that we probably expected that horse to lead, as you mentioned, just missed away a little bit. But then when All the King's Men goes around, all of a sudden Upper Limits goes from being in a reasonable spot to being shuffled back, and I thought finished off really nicely. So nice to see, I guess, another string to the bow of Upper Limits, who traditionally we've seen this preparation, and the last time we saw him more sort of out in front.
I think if Jeremy Easthope places him well and dodges the good ones, he's a follow horse out of the meeting, because he was an 1,100-metre maiden winner to a 1,400-metre race yesterday against his normal pattern. Unlucky, held up, found the line well.
He was in the Guineas nomination, not the Placid Arc. I guess we're looking a lot at those nominations that came out on Monday. But with that being said, obviously there are so many that they just have to chuck the names in.
That's more the comment about placement, because if Upper Limits now goes to a Faritha and meets all the King's Men again, well, you're probably fighting an uphill battle.
Yep. King's Troop by Redute's Choice, still standing at Oakland Park?
Not sure. All I know is from the old TAB radio ad, three-quarter brother to Schnitzel.
Yes. We heard that a lot.
On to race number 2, and this was the Tab Touch Westby Platinum Series heat over the 1,200 metres.
Back there towards the tail with Key Trade. It's second from last in front of Zeewick. Ain't No Other Man, though, doing it comfortably. They went past the 350. Into the straight, Ain't No Other Man, the leader. Here comes Halatorian. Out after it now. Halatorian challenging Ain't No Other Man. They've raced about 3 in front, going to third. Requisition on the inside, Ain't No Other Man, and Halatorian toe-to-toe. Down the outside, Requisition. Halatorian hits the front. Here's Requisition. Requisition diving at Halatorian. It's Requisition in the last stride ahead. Halatorian, Ain't No Other Man.
Well, I reckon Michael Heaton would have had his finger on the text button at about the 300 when Halatorian loomed up as a horse to follow from last week's program or the week before, and just couldn't hold out. Requisition gunned him down late. Ain't No Other Man in third.
At the 300, at the 200, I'm still just looking at Halatorian thinking, it's home, it's got Ain't No Other Man done. And then all of a sudden, here comes the Brett Pope colours, and a brilliant win this was to see the horse just fly home over the top of Halatorian. And speaking to Brett, he obviously had 3 horses in the race, the one that we touched on as a non-runner. But the fact that he has been a little bit quiet of late, I loved post-race how he said he took the family on a holiday, and he actually, for the first time, he actually just walked away and had a little break. And I think that was so important to hear from him. And then, all's well that ends well. You get back to Ascot, you probably have a quiet time at the end of the Belmont season when it's heavy tracks and worn tracks anyway, and you come back with a bang.
A holiday. I did see Brett Pope with runners at Carnarvon, and then he took the team up to Roban, so it's a travelling holiday.
Travelling holiday.
Well, it's got to continue to function, Scott.
Yeah, they're all working people.
They are.
And Requisition doesn't win out of turn, but he's a good bread and butter horse. Halatorian's clearly ready to win one. Ain't No Other Man, unfortunately. I think most people agreed yesterday on paper looked as though if he was going to win one in that grade, it was yesterday. Because even if you consider the fact he's running another honest, consistent third, that run yesterday isn't as good as his second to Defending. It's not as good as his second to Carly's Karma, and it's not as good as his second to Let's Gallivant. So he's probably a horse, he's awkwardly placed, he's in between grades. The handicapping department have done the right thing at his last 2. He's run placings on both occasions and received no penalty because that is his mark. At the moment, he just can't clear it.
I did send a text to Michael Heaton. 2 for 21, I read.
Forces to follow.
On to race number 3, it was a Jade Canane handicap over the 1,800.
They hit the 550 and now rolling Buster Bash. He puts up 2 lengths. Native Chimes and Chuckaluk. Crescent City on the outside is being worked on with great gusto by Harvey as they come into the home turn. Buster Bash travels well. They balance 300 left to go. It's Buster Bash, 3.5 Crescent City. It's under hard riding but starting to knuckle to the task. Buster Bash still with a big lead. Still 2 in front. Crescent City coming now. Buster Bash is the leader. Crescent City is trying to haul it in. The post is coming for Buster Bash. Buster Bash clung on. Buster Bash just scrambled over the line from Crescent City. 2.5 lengths.
Well, the Pont couldn't get Crescent City over the line here with Buster Bash fighting on for Brandon Louis. Barramagic back in third. Gee, I think we've spoken about this before. The amount of times Crescent City is well backed with the favouritism. Surely they're going to run out of patience sooner or later.
We spoke about it pre-race, Scott.
Well, in some sense, you're right and you're wrong because, look, I left this horse out of my 4 yesterday for that exact reason. He continues to get crunched. He continues to run honest races, but he's no world beater. So you're right in the sense that he doesn't win. You're wrong in the sense that you left him out of the 4 and he's run second. But again, he's gone around $2.70 yesterday, in from $4. Paul Harvey has given him a wonderful ride. He's had the shades thrown at him for the very first time. The Pontiff was riding 55 kilos for him yesterday, so he had every opportunity to run down Buster Bash. He had 4 kilo weight pull on Buster Bash as well. I struggle with the horse. He's clearly got ability, but he's just one that seems to find one better.
You must show it at home, surely, for this continual support to evolve.
Well, he doesn't race badly. Like, all of his runs have been very consistent. He's run second at his 3 of his last 4, or to make it now 4 of the last 5. He's running consistently. The punter's thinking, he has to be breaking through soon, but it just hasn't come. And when you're up against a horse like Buster Bash, he is just so awfully hard to run down. A horse that was stepping up from 1,400 to 1,800 as opposed to a Crescent City who was going from a staying trip back to 1,800. And they all just look like stayers behind Buster Bash on the corner when they're all off the bit and just couldn't pick their legs up to go with him. And Buster Bash is in cruise mode.
I love this horse. He's now 7 from 19. He's won a pair of races out at 1,800. He's actually run second over 2,100. So I imagine now David Harrison will try and find another race for him. He goes to a 90 rater after yesterday. He's certainly skyrocketed up in the ratings. They'd have to start thinking about country cups with this
definitely.
horse.
Yeah.
He has the right racing pattern. He takes luck out of the equation. He rolls to the top. And look, historically, when you're thinking in a general sense, the further you go out and trip, the slower, in inverted commas, the chasing brigade are. So
Exactly.
he can get things even cheaper.
Exactly right. The beaten brigade of that bunched finish for third, there was nothing between them. You could throw a tea towel over the runners in contention for third place. But I thought Barra Magic was a good run, given that he was first up at 1,800 metres, something he's done before, fresh, and a good run from him. And obviously Native Chimes was one that we touched on the text line, was found to be in season and ran terribly.
All right, 24 minutes past 8 o'clock. Let's take a break on Racing Rewind.
You're listening to Racing Rewind, brought to you by Sessions, standing the 22-23 season at Oakland Park Stud. Breeders of demerit consider Sessions, who is also a son of the highly successful Longo.
Capone, though, beautifully placed down on the inside. It's running fourth in front of Mega Reward. Out there 3 deep, tracking up behind them. Street Parade followed then around them very deep on the turn. Laced up heels into the straight now by the 300. Lexington City given rein, kicks away from El Capone. Lace Vinsky down the outside is Laced Up Heels and also Street Parade. At the 100 though, Lexington City's the leader. Look at Laced Up Heels closing it down. Laced Up Heels went to Lexington City. They split the line. It dived right on the line. Maybe it got there. Possibly the filly Laced Up Heels has come with a big run.
Yeah, terrific effort. Laced Up Heels by Toronado grabs Lexington City, and El Capone with Street Parade back in fourth.
A brilliant win this by Laced Up Heels. We spoke at the top of the show about the pattern of the day being more on pace or rails in run. Well, she defied that because she was one of only 2 to come from back there, her and Tricks of the Trade, who got that card up on the back of Devoted, but she had to do it her own way, Laced Up Heels, and sort of halfway up the straight I thought, well, Lexington City's been out in front, given a nice kick. It's going to take a serious turn of foot to run this gelding down, and that's exactly what she showed.
I think for most people it was you were either team Laced Up Heels or you were team Lexington City, and then there was a gap to the remainder of the field. And as I mentioned yesterday on course and in the morning, I was team Lexington City purely for the fact that Ascot is an on-pace track and that Lexington City would find the front, and certainly halfway up the straight I thought, well, beautiful. This is history's on your side here. The trend is your friend, and Lexington City will just hold off Laced Up Heels, who will be an outstanding run in defeat. And listening to Brad Parnham post-race, it seems as though that's what he thought as well with 150 to go, that he'd left her too much to do and Lexington City was going to scramble in. But, gee, I can't wait to see her final furlong split. It will be electric because she picked them up. In the end, live, I was watching the race with you, Britt, and we thought, gee, that was close. She's won by half a head in the end.
I actually thought it was the other way around, to be honest, watching it live. From where we were on our angle. But, yeah, there's actually a decent margin there. How good is this formula at the moment, 3-year-olds against the older horses? We saw it on Wednesday and we saw it again yesterday.
It is just... And the Pierce brothers have been doing it. That's why they've been training so many winners. They've been doing it non-stop, and other people are starting to catch on to it now, and they are just dominating at the moment.
Tell you who I think broke the mould for this was Godolphin and James Cummings a couple of years ago. They started to just produce the 3-year-olds early in the season against the older horses, and I'm sure it's just been picked up from there.
And this is my favourite one, is the 3-year-olds in a graduation company. But as we saw later on, Rusty Stewart did it with Swear to God in a 66+. Now, that's an even more aggressive step, and it's still proving fruitful.
Talking about Rusty Stewart, Street Parade.
Solid enough effort. The horse is probably going to be good enough to win a graduation like he was in yesterday, just finding the right barrier and the right scenario. But he's probably just a cog below the 3-year-olds that are on display at the moment.
That's exactly right. Harrow did say in the previous race about Al Capone was expecting an improved performance, and that's exactly what we got from him because he was able to run into third.
I thought our Win Spirit was quite an all right effort as well. It looks as though splitting the difference, 72+ graduation, find a nice 66, and he can definitely win races in WA.
Just one of those hold-up sprinters that always find a bit of trouble, cast a plate.
61.5 yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, on to race number 5, the Project Building Supplies Handicap, and this was over the 1600.
Truly inspired at the 450. Yemen Lass now sneaks away from Oh So Tempting, and she's travelling well, the leader. Yemen Lass by 2, Oh So Tempting, no change, hugs the fence. Stylax fourth, a length and a half away. Then is Mystery Island being popped. The question runs on. Further back, Strike Now is starting to get right out of the ground. Stylax goes up on the outside. Strike Now joined it very quickly. Going with it, Mystery Island. Strike Now, Mystery Island. Mystery Island got its head in front. Mystery Island on the back up has just won from Strike Now.
Good fighting win there to Mystery Island. Strike Now looked to have him cold in the water. Stylax third, Truly Inspired fourth.
Was done to a dinner. All anyone was looking at was Strike Now and the way he was finishing off. And I thought that Mystery Island was just plodding to the line until Brad Parnham put the whip into the left, and this horse just he jumped out of the ground in those final few stages to put his head out in front, backing up off 7 days. He was in a 2100 metre race last week where took off early, probably just couldn't sustain it. Back to 1600 metres, recipe for success.
There was over 4 figures traded at under $1.10 in live betting on Strike Now when he charged down the outside because he looked to have them cold.
Yep.
Completely.
But Mystery Island levelled off in the end, and watching the last 50 metres, I know it's the age-old question, did Strike Now peak on his run or did Mystery Island fight him off? Is it a combination of both? Most likely. But I love the way that Mystery Island really ran through the line. He looks like he was actually accelerating again and wanting further, which of course is unsurprising considering he's already won a 2J Cup.
Yeah, what I really liked about the rider Brad Parnham was early when the horse wanted to sort of drop the bridle a bit. He kept at him. Lesser jockey would have let him sort of get back another couple of positions in run, but Brad kept him where he was, sort of midfield, just off the speed. And yeah, I love Brad when he gets that whip into the left. He really can nail down and get the best out of a horse. So well done. Lindsay was very happy with that win, I can tell you.
Brad Parnham, two winners clear of Paul Harvey in the current premiership. Now, I know Clint Johnston-Porter's still ill and Chris Parnham's been suspended, but Brad Parnham's had a wonderful start to the year.
What's the update there with CJP?
Not sure.
No, haven't heard anything more. I think the last I saw, his manager on Twitter said he's just taking a bit of time to get the body right. It really knocked him around. What we thought was food poisoning, and it was just sort of extended food poisoning. He continually was feeling unwell, but I believe he's had all tests done to make sure that he's A-OK, and now he's just getting his body right. Big
stewards report in this race. A lot of mentions.
Plenty of mentions. These races can be quite muddling. They can be quite ugly at stages, and there were a few horses there that probably didn't get the rub of the greens turning for home, and as Yemen Lass compounded at the top of the home corner, simply didn't run out the mile. There was always going to be a few there that were ducking and diving, looking for runs, and of course the first 400 metres when they were sorting out their positions was no one knew what they were doing. At one stage, I think Mrs. America was 4 deep off the track and having to roll forward, and then in the end it was too much for her. Few hard luck stories apart from the top 2 and the eye-catching run of Truly Inspired, who hadn't been seen for a long time, over 450 days from memory. Apart from those 3, probably not a lot to take from me.
476 days. It's a good effort to have a horse off the scene for that long and to be able to hit the line like...
First up at a mile with the fastest last 600.
Yep.
Big effort. Powerful off to the Spelling paddock now.
Yeah, well, that's what Powerful did after that Broome season, and then Darren Pateman got a call saying this horse is going mad, he's a lunatic in the paddock, he looks so fresh, get him back in work or he's going to hurt himself. And so he chucked him back in work, won the race at Kalgoorlie, but now it might actually be time for the paddock.
And there was a post-race vet revealing mucus in off nostril there for Mrs. America after being caught wide throughout. Right, on to race number 6 on the program. This was the Ballpoint Construction Handicap. It was a rating 66 and it was over the 1,200 metres.
Enticing with nowhere to go, strung up near the rail. Hint of Mint the middle, then Phone Me being ridden along. No Run, Rain of Fire, travelling well. Alien for Mars looks for the shortest way home. Then Ace Fire, Pims Royale, Groundbreaker Probity into the straight. Written Matter reaches the lead. Swear to God just had to steady off its heels. Now goes for the run on its inside. 150 left to go. Swear to God comes at Written Matter. It's Swear to God now getting ahead in front from Written Matter, who comes again. Swear to God, Written Matter, but the 3-year-old's going to be just a little too good. Swear to God beat home Written Matter. Third Hibiscus Lady from Rain of Fire, who didn't see a lot of daylight until it was...
Well, Lactar Romilly starting to get back amongst some winners after a very lean run. Gets a Saturday winner for Russell Stewart. Swear to God. In those famous Collingwood colours, beats Written Matter. Hibiscus Lady continues to race well, and a Rain of Fire back in 4th.
That is right. We should wish Lactar Romilly a very happy birthday as well, celebrating his birthday today, and yesterday got Swear to God home. Again, we touch on the 3-year-olds taking on the older horses, and as you said earlier, Scott, this is even more aggressive sort of placement, and this horse rose to the occasion. Russell was open first up that the 1,000 metres would probably be a little bit short, so to 1,200 metres yesterday was more suitable. He's of the opinion that he wants to get this horse to Melbourne. I think it was pretty well documented that the phone was ringing with offers for this horse at the end of last preparation, and that's where he would like to get him, such as his opinion of him. He thinks that he could beat those sort of horses over there, and also said he believes that we won't actually see the best of this horse as an autumn 3-year-old, as opposed to at the end of this year, but he's doing things right at the moment.
And he's still a colt as well.
Is.
He won well yesterday. Gee, the market was all over this horse. He's opened up 3.10 on Thursday morning. He's jumped $1.85 fixed. I think he paid $1.70 on the tote. So there was mountains and mountains of money for him. And there's a lot of players in the WA market at the moment. It was something that I've noticed over the last probably fortnight is the fluctuations are getting more aggressive. They're getting more pointed, and the volume of money that's out and around for WA racing is almost at a high since I've been following it.
It's great.
I'll use a left of field example that probably goes under the guard a lot. There was a race on Thursday in the last, and she was a massive drifter in the market. Michelada, Simon Miller's mare. With moments to go until loading, there was one lump sum on the lay side. Now everybody knows that an exchange exists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was over $25,000 sitting there to take her on, and the amounts of money there at the moment are huge. It's an aggressive marketplace, and it just goes to show how confident punters are in WA racing at the moment.
Okay, can we get back to Russell Stewart, because you guys would have interviewed him.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to go east with Swear to God. Surely he's a 3-year-old. Isn't there races here for him first? Is he going to go there in the autumn?
Yeah, I think that was more his point. So the horse will go to the Faritha, and I think we'll follow the natural pathway here.
To the Guineas.
In his mind, he is feeling as though that maybe this sort of next year as an autumn that he would really like to get him to Melbourne to have a crack at some of those horses.
Okay.
Does the gut say he'll run a mile?
But that's the beauty of this place
Yes.
at Arc now, isn't it? And hats off to David Hunter and the racing department here, because they've positioned that race perfectly, or boosted the prize money perfectly for those runners that don't. You know, you get to that Faritha, there's the fork in the road, and you say, well, not
You can bail out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a fascinating scenario, and I think, as you just said, does the gut say? That's all anyone can really go off for most of this, because we don't have that body of work to actually judge them on. I'm thinking he's a playing god. Looking at him, this is the horse that Neville Parnham said reminds him so much of Playing God himself as a type. So out of an Oratorio mare, though, what does your gut say?
I think he'll run 14, no worries.
Yep.
The step to a mile, possibly at this stage of his life, maybe he's a bit too brilliant. He still really wants to go.
Well, I think Russell said that's why the Faritha will answer questions.
Yeah.
We'll see how he runs in the Faritha, and that probably tells you what you need to do. The other horse, Written Matter, who ran second, I think a brilliant return by this horse. You look at the horse's last preparation, who he was running behind in 72 plus grade. We're talking It's a Ray Day, Rock'n'Ori, Other One's Son. I think he's got plenty of ability. He's had his issues in terms of temperament out of that mare, Sophia Town. We know she can throw a little bit of madness into them, and I thought it was a good effort on return by Written Matter from a wide draw.
My horse of the meeting to follow comes from this race. Ran 10th, beaten 4, Groundbreaker. First up, 1200, stepped out to as far as 2000 when last in work. Fairly lightly raced 4-year-old. Loved his run, loved his trial. Think he's come back well. And the other one was Probity, who probably ticks the box and is more than just a wet tracker after the run that he produced yesterday.
You mentioned that cross playing God over an Oratorio mare. Obviously, there was a lot of them through Mungerup, etc.
Yeah.
But Bustler last week, similar cross. I think it's the nick that you're looking for.
Yep.
With playing God, gives him that speed. He was, as we discussed with Neville last week, as a 2 and 3-year-old, and even later, he was very good at 1200 metres.
He was brilliant.
It's a bit of a misconception that they're all 16-plus type horses. And with that Oratorio speed in there, it seems to be the cross that's working at the moment. Race number 7, the first of our features, was the RS Crawford Stakes over the 1,000 metres.
Further back, Gemma's Son over on the inside. Long Beach, Hodzed back there. Stage Man and last, Amacinus. Inside the 350, Mervyn straightens up in front. Will Chino got to the breeze without having to do a lot of work. Will Chino comes now at Mervyn, a length and a half away. Indian Pacific. This'll Test You comes at them now. Miss Kentucky, she's getting a brilliant inside run. Look at Miss Kentucky. She's hugging the fence. She goes through. This'll Test You goes with her. This'll Test You and Miss Kentucky. They'll split it. All nothing in it. Maybe Miss Kentucky. I thought it might have been Miss Kentucky. A nostril. This'll Test You in an absolute nail biter to the Crawford. Down the outside, Hodzed pans down.
Yeah, it was a wonderful finish, and it was Miss Kentucky on the inside. Beats This'll Test You. Narrow Dio in third, Hodzed fourth. Let's listen to the beaten jockeys.
Zushine Curiel.
Yeah, found it a bit tough today.
Jordan Turner, Riverbow.
Yeah, he had the gun run. Probably just not up to him.
Turner, Hodzed.
Yeah, I thought it was a great run. I thought he had a nice tough run for it going forward, so he should be hard to beat in his next couple.
Joe as a party stage man.
He made a bit of a mess at the start and got well back in the field and had a pretty checkered passage to the line, but he felt good.
Brad Rawiller, Money Matters.
Just a shattering ride from my part. We just had the best run to the corner and thought I was doing the right thing, going very strong to getting to the outside of the leader, and the run was coming, and then we just got shut down.
Natasha Faithful, This'll Test You.
Yeah, she was really brave in defeat, just a barrier beater today, but Mitch has done a good job with her. She's flying.
Uridia, Lectar Ramoli.
I was really good today. Ascot from this gate, we was on the speed, and he let down really good when he got to drag up.
Sean McGrady, pants down.
Yeah, he enjoyed a good run, and when I pulled him out on straightening, I thought he might have let down a bit better, but he worked to the line nice.
Luke Fernie, Mervyn.
Yeah, he tried really hard today, guys, but he just wasn't fast enough at the end of the day. So, yeah, well done.
Holly Watson, It's a Ray Day.
Yeah, he went super today. Obviously, come back from last start. Speed on helped him, and hopefully the 1,000 with blinkers, and he can pinch one of these.
Brad Parnham, Indian Pacific.
Yeah, he's a bit disappointing, really. He jumps out and he wants to run too hard, and the pace of the races that he's running in lately, the last couple of years, have just been real fast run races. So we're going to have to try something different with him if we can get him to come back to his best.
Sean O'Donnell, Will Chin, no?
Well, I should have taken a boat and an oar from where I drew, I think, mate. Done some work to get across, that's how she races, but no luck. She peaked at the 100, fantastic effort. Look out when she draws a gate. Thank you, gentlemen.
Steve Parnham, Amacinus.
Yeah, look, we did draw badly, so we were probably always going to get back in the race, but the pace was in the 1,000 probably a little bit hot, and then I couldn't quite travel as strongly into the straight as I would have liked. Maybe a little bit further might be a bit more suited.
Scotty, that'll blow Twitter up, won't it? Luke Fernie and the beaten jockeys.
Oh, he loves it. Mervyn just not quick enough.
They went quick.
Actually, touching on Brad Parnham's comments there with Indian Pacific and the comments from Will Chino and Sean O'Donnell, I'm sure there's a lot of trainers out there that would love to see Mervyn call it a day, because he just breaks these races open and he creates the frenetic tempos of these races. And there's so many on-speed gallopers that have got so much ability that he just blows them up.
And they just can't go with it, and that's what we saw and heard from those comments there. Another comment out of that Beaten Jocks that got me was Troy Turner, I think, downplayed Hot Zed a little bit. He was just a very casual about what he thought of his run. I thought he was an absolutely enormous run from back in the field. 1,000 metres you always thought would be a bit sharp for him. Stepping up further, he attacked the line really strongly.
There were two horses in the race, Miss Kentucky and Hot Zed, who broke 33 their last 600. They were flying along behind Mervyn, and they've still run those sections late. Ascot is a fast track, but those horses are setting the track alight at the moment.
Now, on to this winner, Miss Kentucky. Simon Miller, I interviewed pre-race, and he was supremely confident about this horse just going to get a run. It wasn't a concern to him. Barrier 1, what that would all look like. I'm not sure that whilst they went quick, they didn't necessarily stretch them open where there was so much galloping room that runs were just presenting themselves. But then in the end, that is what happened for Miss Kentucky, where the run did present itself, and her point-to-point speed is just so fast.
We see it actually quite a lot watching the head-on vision now that it's probably more openly available, is that you see a lot of leaders at Ascot, because they accelerate into the corner, they can't actually physically hold that inside ground, and there are so many more inside runs available than what are actually even taken.
It's funny you should say this, because on the screen behind your head on Sky right now is the head-on vision of Miss Kentucky, and you can literally see that run become available.
You probably could have driven a semi-trailer through underneath Mervyn there, and for Miss Kentucky, that's the gap that appeared. She absolutely took full advantage of it, but the run of this will test you. Now, Will Chino, as much in Darren's call at the top of the straight, and who would want to be a race caller? 16 horses over the 1,000 when they're flying. But Darren says Will Chino got to the breeze without doing much work. Now, Will Chino took 450 metres to find the breeze, and as the steward's report says, Ryder reported working hard from a wide barrier to cross to settle outside the leader. She was unable to finish off, and she did work awfully hard. But what it meant when Will Chino found the breeze was that this will test you got left without cover. So she's done it 3 deep, chasing a hot speed, no cover, and been beaten a nose. She almost came again in the last 100.
Yep.
It was such a good return from This'll Test You. The trials have been good. I think Mitch Payman obviously has got this mare in a really rich vein of form. We saw it at the end of last preparation when she was able to win a Cyril Flower, but to see her come back the way she has, I think they looked over the moon to run second. You just beat, there's probably disappointment there, but you're also so happy with what she's been able to produce.
Just on that, the previous week we did see it. You can sit 3 deep at Ascot over that 1,000 metres like Snowdome did, and the one earlier on in the day just got beat. So, but what I liked about the ride, Tash didn't panic when she was out there. She almost rated the horse, just came back that little bit, didn't chase the speed, and just wasn't out of hold of Miss Kentucky, who trialled so well in that hot trial at Belmont Park.
Absolutely, and this will test you. Wind the clock back 18 months ago, you wouldn't have been able to do that with her.
No, at all.
Because she would have gone every step with Will Chino and ended up 3 deep outside the leader.
But therefore, so she was obviously 3 deep, no cover. Did that almost suit her because she's able just to be in a rhythm and roll rather than if you were to try and check her and get her in and lob a spot? Maybe that's almost helped her?
I think at the moment what This'll Test You did yesterday is exactly what Brad Parnham's talking about Indian Pacific not being able to do. She can now do it in a high pressure race at both ends, whereas there's a lot of other horses that simply can't.
Crown Perth, Eurythmic Stakes taken out by Resort Man. Michael Lane is our special guest. Let's have a listen to the finish.
By Titan Blinders, Comfort Me look to be cruising up there running fourth. Resort Man next on the fence, 3/4 Maraschino. Over on the inside, True Attraction, last of the line, starting to stoke up, followed by Pure Devotion. Further back, Platoon God Has Chosen, Cup Night, Jericho, Missile, Notorious One. Excellent Dream, joined by the stablemates, Massimo, Titan Blinders. Comfort Me comes at them as Resort Man ducks back toward the inside at the 100 now. Comfort Me over on the inside, Resort Man's getting through, and also there, Titan Blinders. There's a great go. 4-way finish. Resort Man tucked up hard against the inside, or Titan Blinders with Massimo and Comfort Me.
Yeah, brilliant ride for a horse who's racing brilliantly, and that is Resort Man. His trainer, Michael Lane, joins us. A very good morning, Michael, and well done.
Morning, Marty. Morning, Brittany. And morning, Scott. How are we?
We are well, Laney. Probably not as good as you. Did you find a dance floor last night to celebrate?
No, it was pretty quiet last night, Brittany. Couldn't butter up from last weekend, the weekend before.
Last weekend I saw Michael Lane doing the Macarena on a dance floor.
Oh, he's got priors. Don't worry about that.
Not a good sight, Marty, not a good sight.
You had a reason to celebrate, though, with Resort Man yesterday. Having had the night to digest it, you just must be so, so proud of this horse.
Yeah, just wrapped with him, Brittany. Just wrapped with the for the stable and the connections, and Peter, Caprara's been with me for a long, long time. Very rewarding. Couldn't be any happier.
Laney, I suppose the obvious question now is he's been at his peak for so long, and you said it yesterday, you cannot have him going any better. How many more runs can you squeeze out of him?
Yeah, that's a big, good question, Scott. Look, we're lucky enough we have got the farm, so, he'll spend a couple of days in the paddock, as he does after every run, and we can go down the beach and give him a couple of days in the water, so he'll have a very easy week, which he does do most weeks after he races, because he's had a few runs in, so we've got that little up our sleeve, which he obviously bounces off and really good. Look, he looks good today. To be interesting to see how he pulls up like later in the week with his legs and everything, how stiff he is and all the rest. But that'll be the telling thing, I think, how far he goes, how many more starts he has. But if he gets through the way he's been getting through, well, you'd like to hope he's got a couple left in him. He definitely will go. If he pulls up good like he has been, he'll definitely go around again in 3 weeks' time. And then let's see. I suppose we head to that now, and then we take it. Maybe we've nominated him for all them races, but we'll just take it. Like I said, it's got every run as it comes now. And if he tells me he's a bit stiff and sore, and he needs to go out, well, it'll be a perfect course for the slot race after Christmas, Scott.
Yeah, certainly will. With how he pulls up after a race, we know he's had his issues earlier on in his career. Is he one that has been, how does he generally pull up from a race? Is he one that, straight to the feed bin bounces out of it, or does he usually take a few days?
Oh, no, he's very tough like that. He never leaves a scrap. He bounces off it really good like that. But obviously, on the softer decks, he's been pulling up really good. He's, perhaps gone past, he'd probably take a good week to get over the run, being stiff and sore. Obviously been a good horse, and that they jog themselves out of it, and away you go again. But this prep, he's been unbelievably sound, and as I keep saying, he's by the time we get to Thursday, he's like, because normally I do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I do water work with him, and Thursday he's telling me, you better do something with me, otherwise I'm going to start playing up. So, and that's the way he's been all prepped. So hopefully that's the way this week we get to Thursday and I jump on him, and he wants to muck around and have a bit of a pig root and carry on, and we just keep going forward. So, but if he doesn't, if he pulls up and it's the opposite, well, we probably, we'll obviously pull up stumps, and so that's enough for now, But to get this far as he's got, well, I suppose, like you say, you probably, you take it every day of the week, and I didn't plan for him to get this far, to be honest. So, this prep, so. Yeah, every run's a bonus from now, I suppose, but you can only but dream now that we can go into one of the big races if he keeps going the way he's going.
It would be so nice to see watching this story all unfold with Resort Man. It's clearly in career best form at the moment. You mentioned that you've been, riding him yourself during slow work. It must be good to be able to get a feel of him personally yourself.
Yeah, like I said, I've ridden him the whole way through from when he's, obviously we want him as a win, as you know, and so I've ridden him the whole way through. Slow working that. So he's obviously, because he's had his issues, he's been a little bit weakish in areas, behind because they carry injuries and that, and he's been a little bit, he's still winning races, still going good, and still a good horse, still a okay horse, and going win a Saturday race, but still knowing that he's not a fully matured horse, or he's carrying injuries that he's just got to carry and put up with. But this prep, he's been, I've said from day one, he's just a different horse. So. Yeah, he's just strengthened. All them injuries have been behind him at the moment, and he's just a lot stronger horse than himself. And I think this is what we're seeing, the true ability of the horse, which is great for everyone.
How'd you rate the ride?
Yeah, it's sensational. I'm very blessed. All the horses have been very lucky to have two great riders on him this prep, and three great riders, and Peter Nucky done nothing wrong in the early days too. So we've had some great riders in this prep all round, Marty. But another great rider on Saturday by Brad. He's just a quality rider and a quality person. Obviously, know Brad personally through Damien, and he's just a quality person. Full stop. Like he rode him, and he rode him a couple of starts ago when he won on him, and Chris obviously come back and stable rider rode him and won, and he was the first person to come up and say congratulations and all the rest of it. And he's just a quality person all around, Marty.
Laney, we've seen in previous carnivals that Damien's come across. Is he any chance of gracing us with his presence?
I haven't talked to him about it actually. I would have thought he would like to come across if he can. That's for sure. He'd definitely like to. But yeah, I'm sure if he can, he will. But yeah, just I don't know what his heavy schedule's got on. But yeah, I'm sure if he can, he'll get here for sure, Scott.
Okay, Laney, as we leave you, I thought it was a brilliant bit of training. You had 35 days between the wins and used that Larkhill trial to tick him over. Well done. Let's hope you can keep him going and maybe pop up in a gold rush, perhaps.
Yeah, I thought that was his best race for him. I thought suitable for him. Marty, you didn't spot on there. I thought the railway probably a bit of a stretch. We've never been over a mile before. He can pull, and it's obviously a true mile. So, yeah, it's probably that's the one I would have been thinking probably the best suited for him. But obviously, it's another big jump again, Marty. So, but yeah, like I say, you can only dream about, can't you?
All the best. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, bud.
Michael Lane, he's a gun. Now let's pull this Eurythmic Stakes apart.
We were speaking about the Gold Rush. That's still 8 weeks away. It's a long time to keep up a horse that's already had such a big Belmont season as well. But hopefully they can keep him up. But a brilliant win from him. What about the place getters here with Team Gangemi? They would have been so happy the horses have ran well, but also just pulling their hair out to be so narrowly defeated. Titan Blinders again. Should have won the Hannons and then has finished second again yesterday. I really thought Massimo was a huge run because this is a big, robust type of horse who I often think that might have needed the run to get to his top, but he was brilliant yesterday.
The question for me as well there is how many points for the second horse, Titan Blinders, because yesterday Resort Man's 102 rater, Massimo's 107, Comfort Me's 101. He went in the mid-80s. Yep. They have to be staring down the barrel and be expectant of 10, 12. It's hard to give horses that many points for running second and being beaten, but he's run at least to 100. But
at this time of year, maybe you want the points to get into races.
Just a quick one too. Comfort Me now into second favourite, equal second favourite behind Tuvalu for the Railway. Tuvalu 7, Comfort Me, Treasured Star, Tricks of the Trade into 9. Let's listen to the last.
For the judge, a length and a half. He sneaks clear of Creator. Agassi down on the inside. Denim Pack. Between them came Brooklyn Pier. Devoted wide out. 4 deep coming into the home turn with a baldy face. Billy Ray has to bide his time. He's back in the middle. Searching for the run back on the inside. Solea. Tricks of the Trade comes down the outside. At the 150, Creator. Brooklyn Pier go to Mr. Delegator. Tricks of the Trade runs on. Devoted can't win. Brooklyn Pier's in front. Creator. Tricks of the Trade cutting it down. Tricks of the Trade. Tricks of the Trade dive right on the post. Tricks of the Trade got to Brooklyn Pier in the shadows.
Yeah, terrific comeback win there by Tricks of the Trade. First, Troy Turner, Cole Webster beats Brooklyn Pier, Creator, Mr. Delegator, then Billy Ray and Devoted.
61 kilos out the back. Did get the back of Devoted after Devoted came out at right angles, so had the right horse to follow into the race, but I thought this was a really good return for Tricks of the Trade, but the talking point has to be Devoted.
I think anybody that's done their money is obviously bitterly disappointed in the effort there with what unfolded for him, but at the same time you take emotion out of the equation. He loses no admirers after everything that's gone wrong. He's beaten less than 2.5 lengths. From the 800 he's 4 deep, no cover. I still think this horse now has no option. He has to go to an Asian Bow, and he near on has to win the Asian Bow or the Peters to gain a start, but if he does, he's still a live hope in the big one, and the talk of the town has been for weeks now that Willie's on his way home.
Yes. Horses to follow from the meeting.
I'll follow Upper Limits from the first.
I have 3 of them. Oh, Upper Limits, so I have 2 of them now. Thanks, Britt. Groundbreaker, and I think we may have seen the Perth Cup winner yesterday back in action. Pure Devotion was sensational.
Okay. Scotty, Britt, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
That's it for the Aftermath.